Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Hello, Houston. We're ready for the event.
The New York Times, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
We will do that. That was cool.
Hello, New York Times. New York Times, this is the International Space Station. How do you hear us?
We hear you loud and clear. How do you hear us?
We hear you loud and clear as well. Good afternoon. Welcome aboard, and we're happy to talk to you.
Thank you very much. If I might boldly call you by your first names, Doug, Chris, and Bob, thank you very much for making time for us. I wonder if you can start by telling us exactly where you are in space relative to us right now.
Well, while I kick things off, Bob's going to pull up our mapping program. Right at the moment, we didn't have it on the computer. Sorry about that. But suffice it to say, more than likely, we're above some water.
Which body of water? I guess I'm curious just how far away you are from us, and if you had to drop a pin, and I guess you would never do that, but which country would it land in? What are you over?
Let me answer that question in about 20 seconds. We're depending on a computer to open up a program, but we're orbiting 250 miles above the Earth, and it looks like we are a beam of Baja California, just a little bit out into the Pacific Ocean.
Mm-hmm. So over America. I don't know if you're, so basically you're above us, the U.S.-Mexican border.
Right, yeah, we're just over the Pacific Ocean. We just passed California heading south.
So I know that typically when anybody speaks to an astronaut, we want to talk about what it's like up there, the mission, the science. If you'll indulge me for a minute, I want to talk a little bit about feelings. Knowing I was going to be talking to you, I have been thinking a lot about this moment back on Earth and wondering, with so much turmoil here and you looking down on all of it from such a distance, what that feels like to look down on a planet that's truly in the midst of some really challenging, tumultuous times.
Well, it certainly is challenging to hear either by secondhand or when we get the opportunity to see some news up here, all the turmoil that's going on, the challenges with the pandemic and the strife in the cities and all the different challenges that people are going through on a day-to-day basis. It is, emotionally it does take a toll on us, certainly, but at the same time, we hope by the example of the International Space Station and the international cooperation that we have been, working towards and working with these partners for the better part of 20 years now is an example for folks to realize that you can make a difference, make changes. And I think the other thing that really resonates with me personally is just when you look out the window, when you see the planet below, you don't see borders, you don't see the strife, you see this beautiful planet that we need to take care of. And, hopefully as technology advances and as this commercial space travel gets going, more people will get that opportunity, because I think if you get the chance to look out the window from space and look back on our planet, it will change you. It will change you for the better, and you'll realize that this is one big world rather than all these different little countries or cities or factions that we have on the planet. And I think it will make it a better place.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's really interesting, and I wonder if you could say a little bit more about that, because in the time since I believe you've all last been in space, there actually have been changes on Earth. Major ice shelves have broken off in Antarctica. Huge fires have swept across Australia, California. The Great Barrier Reef in Australia has essentially died. And when you look down at Earth, can you actually see some of those changes to the Earth compared with when you last saw it?
Well, I think one of the things that we see from up here is that the Earth is not a stagnant place. It continues to change, whether it's a fire, whether it's the seasons, whether it's different things happening further out. We just saw a comet become visible in the pre-dawn era. So it's definitely a lot of things happening with the Earth and that continuous change, and something that we try to capture in the few moments that we do have to look out the window. We try to capture those changes, capture the differences, capture the exciting things that we can see to try to share our view, with the folks back home, the folks that are still down on Earth, and just try to give them an appreciation for, just how beautiful our planet is and how important it is that we do our best to take care of it.
I have to apologize. Now I need for you to tell me what it means for a comet to become visible in the pre-dawn era and what that actually looks like.
Well, the comet that I'm referring to was really close to the sun, and so it needed to get far enough away from the sun that we could actually, look at it and see its dim little light that was visible in darkness, but kind of blinded by the sun, if you will, if you looked too closely at it. And so if we got to a situation at dawn right before the sun came up, that comet became visible during that short period of time when it was still close to the sun, but the sun was still hidden by the Earth. And so it was just an awesome sight to be able to see. All these changes are just examples of our world around us. It's not a stagnant place. It continues to change. It continues to evolve. And part of our job is to capture that change and share it with people.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the New York Times portion of the event. Please stand by for a voice check from Fox News.
Hey guys, this is Fox New York. Can you hear us well?
Bill Hemmer with Fox News. How do you hear me?
Hi, Bill. Loud and clear. Welcome to the space station.
Excellent. Thank you, gentlemen. NASA astronauts Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley captivated the world with their historic launch into space about a month ago. They were about halfway through their mission aboard the International Space Station. They join me now, along with ISS Commander Chris Cassidy. And good afternoon, gentlemen. It's great to see all three of you.
Hi there. Thanks a lot. Great to be with you.
I am most interested in your return to Earth, which may happen in early August, date to be determined. And you're doing sort of an old school space reentry into a new age world. You will use parachutes to slow your descent. They can be tricky. A water landing hasn't happened since 1975. So Bob Behnken, how are you getting ready for this?
Well, right now what we're doing is wrapping up our mission on board the International Space Station. We've turned into long-duration crew members here in probably about 3 weeks. We'll get a good, solid review of all the procedures we need to be familiar with prior to entry, just to cover those things you discussed, make sure that we understand how the sequence of events when we slow down and re-enter the Earth's atmosphere should play out, and we can monitor Dragon's performance to make sure that's doing really well. The same thing on the parachute side. Should we need to intervene and put the chutes out manually, we'll need to make sure that we understand exactly when the right time to do that is. But I think right now our biggest focus is for Doug and I is taking care of ourselves so that we're ready, like any astronauts who are coming home, to be in the best physical condition that we can be in. That splashdown, like you referred to, is a little bit of an unknown, at least for our generation of astronauts. And so we'll want to be at our best when we splash down while we wait for the SpaceX team to pull our capsule out of the water and get us out of the capsule.
Yeah, my next question will go to Doug. I love the way you passed the mic, too. Doug, what are the different jobs when all this is happening between you and Bob?
As far as while we're here on Space Station or within Dragon?
with the parachutes and the splash landing? How do you differentiate the jobs you do at that point?
Well, it's, we've had, at this point, several years of training on the Dragon, and my seat has the manual push buttons for a lot of those features if they don't work automatically, and then both of us are kind of following the procedure as we descend back into the atmosphere. So there's different gates that we have to meet. We'll do our deorbit burn, the trunk will detach, and then we'll slow down as we descend through the atmosphere. Then the drogue chutes will come out, and we'll monitor all those things, and then the mains come out, and then the splashdown. So we'll hopefully, with Dragon, it's an automated vehicle with manual backup capability. So we'll monitor it, and if we have to intervene, that's what we'll do.
Yeah, you could be bobbing in the ocean for a while. We will see how long that goes. Hey, Chris, how are your new friends up there? I mean, are they good roommates?
Well, the nice thing is they're not new friends. We've been colleagues for a decade and a half, I guess, and Doug and I have flown in space together before, and Bob and I, it's the first time we've been together in space. In fact, we did a spacewalk together 2 weeks ago, and that was the first time we'd ever done even a training spacewalk together. So, but it doesn't feel like a new crew. It feels like old friends getting to coming to a new place to work together, and to me, it's amazing that it's already been 5 weeks has gone by. It's gone by in the blink of an eye. We're having a great time.
You guys are a great team. Bob, final question. Were you aware how many millions of Americans were watching and cheering and praying and hoping for you at liftoff in late May?
We heard a lot about that after we got into orbit, a lot of emails and well wishes, and I think some speeches were even made after we got on board to us talking about the historic nature of our launch, since it had been so long since the shuttle had launched, and how important it was to bring launches back to the Florida coast in America. But for both Doug and I, we were really focused on the mission in front of us and had our heads down, focused on the details and making sure that everything went exactly perfectly and as it did with training. And so things really did go exceptionally smoothly. But we did have to take the time to be ready for all the things that could have possibly happened with a new rocket launch. And so I would say that real time, we were really focused on the mission, and it was just wonderful to hear all the well wishes and hear just how many people had followed along with us through that entire adventure once we got into orbit. We're hoping that when Land America happens, they're paying attention as well.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the Fox News portion of the event. Please stand by for a voice check from USA Today.
Hello? This is Ledge King with
USA Today. Hi, how are you?
This is Ledge King with USA Today.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to talk to you three. I don't have much time. I will get to my questions as quick as I can. For Bob and Doug, I guess, can you reflect on the importance of the nation once again being able to send humans from U.S. soil?
Yeah, it was a tough proposition to swallow back in 2011 when the last shuttle flight flew, and we had no capability from the United States to launch us into space. It's great to be back in that business again. Far overdue, in my opinion. But by the same token, our Russian partners were incredible as we were able to fly to the space station in ones or twos on board Soyuz. But it is certainly great to usher in this new era and get back to at least somewhat routine flights from the United States coming to the space station.
Are you still looking at mid-August for a return, or what can you tell us about the timing?
That's the great question. I think we expect to return in August. Early to mid is the last that we've heard. We do have a couple of more spacewalks to finish out the battery upgrade program that's happening on board the International Space Station. So Chris and I will go out with Doug's help on the robotics side here in just a few days and do that next series of spacewalks. And we really, at that point, expect to get a good, solid briefing on our return home plan. We're expecting, the weather picture needs to be pretty well understood. And as you can imagine, looking at the Gulf or off the coast of Florida in August and September, you do need to wait until you have good forecasts before you can plan too far into it, just with hurricanes and just the thunderstorms and the dynamics that are out there. So we've got another 2 weeks or so, and then a good plan ought to start coming together because the weather will be better understood. But early to mid-August is last that we've heard.
Globally, as you know, we've been dealing with the coronavirus pandemic. Has that added at all to the stress of your mission? Are you worried for your families, for example?
Well, we're certainly worried for our families and all of mankind. We have a great deal of concern for. I think the three of us and probably most astronauts have the ability to focus on our work and sort of compartmentalize when we need to be sharp and safe and diligent about the task at hand. But when it's off-duty time, we're quick to find the latest news from our hometowns, our families, and find out what's going on. And we can watch the news a little bit, and of course we keep up with all the world events. So it is on our mind a lot, just like every citizen of the world, and we hope all the best of health for everyone.
Doug, your Earth shots are spellbinding and breathtaking. What are you trying to capture? And has the reduction of carbon emissions from human activity made Earth a crisper subject?
Well, I think, personally, it's just trying to convey to as many people as we can, and I think we all try to do it, just what we see with our eyes when we look out the window up here, and how different it is to view the Earth from space than it is maybe to be standing on the ground somewhere. And just all the differences and all the dynamics of the globe, the clouds, the way the water flows into the ocean, the different features in the ocean, the different features on land, and just trying to convey that it's just an almost an emotional response that you have when you look down at the planet, and there are certainly places that catch your eye. For example, the Bahamas. It's every time we fly over the Bahamas, that just vivid blue that you see that surrounds those islands is just unbelievable, and you only have to look out the window for about 1/10 of a second and you recognize it's the Bahamas. And there are other places like that. The Himalayas are like that. The Rocky Mountains are like that. The Midwest of the United States, it's very easy to recognize, and each of it just offers its own beauty to the eye.
Thank you very much, and good luck back.
Thank you.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes our event as we count down to 20 continuous years of humans living and working on the International Space Station.
Thank you to all participants from the New York Times, Fox News, and USA Today. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.